All right, guys. Well, that time is finally here. WEB3GAM3Rs Choice Awards going down live in Miami. I'm super excited for this, guys. Hosted by the boy, Icy. It is going down, and I cannot be any more excited. So, as some of you may know, on every Friday, I co-host the Web3Gamer podcast with the boy, Icy, where we go over Web3 Gaming's newest and best trailers, crypto news, all of that. And over the past couple of months, the homie has been working really hard behind the scenes in throwing the first ever live and in-person Web3 Gaming or blockchain gaming or GameFi gaming award show. Now, as I said, guys, it will be live and in person in Miami. Your boy will be in attendance, and it will be live streamed on, I believe, either Icy's Twitch channel or the Web3Gamer Twitch channel. Either way, I'll leave that link down below in the description so that when the time comes, you guys will be able to watch as well. And you guys may be asking yourself, Paisan, what is the purpose of this video? Well, I'm going to tell you. The purpose of this video today is finally we are able to cast our votes on web3gamer.com/vote. Now, I encourage you guys, if you have played any of these games or have you seen my pet videos in the past and you like some of these games, to go on and vote for your favorites. I was honored to be picked as one of the 40 or 43 members on the panel to nominate these games, and now the day is finally here where we have nominated and brought it down to the final 5 for, I believe, 12 categories. So I'm going to go with you guys. I'm going to show you guys my picks and what I'm voting for, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so this is it. The Web3Gamer Cast Your Vote, the Gamers Choice Awards. All of these are the nominations. And by the way, it says a little sneak peek here. Tune in on January 31st at 6 p.m. EST. January 31st is the date of the event. To see the winners announced live and a $1,000 giveaway. So if you didn't have any reason to join or watch the event, now you do. All right, guys, as we can see here, the game of the year is the first one. Now we have 5 choices here, and I will say most of them that I nominated are actually up here. So we got Big Time. Obviously, I stream this game a ton. I'm a Big Time ambassador. I'm a huge fan of the game. They just came out with a recent update, and everybody's giving out Ruby passes like crazy. You'll be able to play for free if you just hop on a streamer's stream and just chill in there. You'll probably end up getting one. I'm a big fan of the game. It reminds me, not completely because it's not a first-person shooter, but there's a lot of dungeons and raids to earn your own digital collectibles inside of the game. Which reminds me a little bit of Destiny with that effect. And then at the end, you have a chance of getting a digital collectible drop, just like in Destiny when you would go through the raids and you'd try to get the legendary or exotic Gjallarhorns. Big fan of that game. Illuvium is probably going to be one of the biggest games out there pretty soon. It is a strategy game, card collecting game, but also kind of like Pokemon where you have to go out and battle to collect your Illuvials. I'm super excited for that game as well. Blanco's Block Party, nobody is a stranger to that game. One of the first games, I think the first game to launch on the Epic Games Store. Obviously, we stream, play that, know that game very well. Undead Blocks. Undead Blocks is one of the best zombie games in the space. First-person shooter survival game. They have a ton coming out in 2023. We made a video about that pretty recently. And then obviously Eve.io, we've made a ton of videos about that. First-person shooter, esports game to the core, browser game. Awesome. Big fan of that game. But out of all of these here, I think we're going to go for Big Time. I think out of all of the games, it is the most complete game out of Illuvium, Blancos, Undead Blocks, and Eve.io. I mean, they're all great picks. Illuvium's not complete yet, so I can't really nominate it Game of the Year, and not a ton of people have access to it. Blancos and Mythical have had a ton of problems over the last year in keeping a player base satisfied, so can't vote for them. Undead Blocks, phenomenal game, needs to come out with some more maps, and the multiplayer is coming out soon. And Eve, man, Eve is great, but it's more of an esports game, and I think there's this esports category, and that'll probably get our vote there. Moving on to the most anticipated game, guys. I'm really looking forward to this, man. There are some great games on here. Shrapnel, man. Shrapnel is probably going to be the COD on the blockchain, first-person shooter. I am super excited for this, especially by looking at the trailer. The game looks absolutely stunning. Alluvium has to be one of the most anticipated games, definitely. We talked about it a little bit before, going in, capturing your alluvials, and scavenging around that beautiful, beautiful world that they built for us. It definitely has to be up there. Star Atlas for sure. I could not be more excited for Star Atlas. I have my bike ready to go. I have it downloaded on Epic. I'm going through time trials. I'm battling. This is definitely for sure one of the biggest games, one of the most anticipated games. These are definitely in the top 3 for sure. Star Atlas, Alluvium, and Shrapnel. Then we have Dead Drop, Dr. Disrespect's game, man. I mean, that could also be considered another first-person shooter that everybody is looking forward to. I know Dr. Disrespect is kind of keeping the digital collectible / NFT thing on the low, but I know he's got a really dedicated fan base. But yeah, Dead Drop, and then the Treeverse. I'm not too familiar with the Treeverse. I know Bryson, I mean, Content Creator of the Year is next, but I know Bryson's been talking about it a lot. But for me, the most anticipated game has to be Star Atlas. I mean, for me, it's definitely a tie between Star Atlas and Shrapnel. Can't vote for both. Gotta vote for one. Star Atlas has my heart. I love Galaxy, open world, RPG style type games. And then all of your collectibles are your ships, guns, everything else. So Star Atlas has my vote. Next up, we got Content Creator of the Year. Now, there are some people who I absolutely love on this list, and then some that I'm a little bit less familiar with. I'm just going to go through this one really quick. Brightest and Spike Reacts, man, those are the GOATs. Those Brightest and Spike Reacts, and Kagi-Gen, you could put him in there too, are the GOATs of Web3 content creation. But Brightest and Spike, man, I love them. I think they're great. Kagi, I didn't like him at first, but after listening to him on the Web3 Gamer podcast, I kind of like him a little bit more because he's very opinionated, as am I. And he likes to ruffle some feathers, as do I. So, I mean, I've found a fondness and appreciation for him. Crypto Stash and Real Jonah Blake, man, Jonah, I agree with a lot of what he says in the Web3 gaming space, especially on Twitter. Crypto Stash, I'm a little bit less familiar with out of them, but this is a tough top 2 for me. Honestly, is between Bryson and Spike Reacts, and it's really hard for me to pick this because I love them both. I think they're both dope creators. But Bryson, man, Bryson's been killing it, as have the rest of them. But Bryson's been killing it, man, really leading the charge. So Bryson has my vote. All right, best game lore. So Alluvium with the alluvials, that's really good. Big Time is coming out with lore, so I'm not really 100% sure what it is. I mean, they opened that whole metaverse portal where you have your own little personal metaverse, which is awesome. Shrapnel, I'm not familiar with the lore behind it. I mean, I've read over the white papers. Star Atlas, to me, out of all of them, has the best lore and the best background, and they're releasing digital collectible comic books or magazines that you can mint that give you a background, on the different enemies or extraterrestrial life that you will face or see. So Star Atlas definitely has my vote for best game lore. Best game trailer, this one is really difficult, so I'm only really going to talk about games that I haven't talked about yet. So Metalcore, obviously, shout out to the Metalcore fam. Love that game, love the mechs, love the gameplay. They fixed their first-person shooter a lot since alpha testing the game. They do have open world alpha right now. And you can go on OpenSea and get yourself a digital collectible if you want to play the game. Absolutely in love with Metalcore. So many different ships, FPS battles, huge scale. Kind of reminds me of mechs with Halo with the big team battle. Definitely reminds me of that. But as for best game trailer, for me, the Bornless game, a PvP, PvE horror style game. Super excited. They had a beautiful trailer, which you can play a snippet of here.
What fun this is. I don't know if you can hear me.
But yeah, no, the Bornless trailer is amazing, but the Shrapnel trailer blew me away as well. But I'm going with the Bornless. The Bornless, the trailer just captivated me between the music and everything else. I absolutely loved it, but it was definitely a tie between Bornless and Shrapnel. Best action adventure game. Now, there are some great picks on here. Well, I'll just start. My pet hooligan is probably immediately out with some of these games on the list. We've talked about Big Time. We've talked about Metalcore. We've talked about Alluvium. but superior. One of the first games to release on Steam. If you want to go download it, go to Steam, download Superior. The game is fantastic. When we're talking about action, we are talking about action. Superior brings it to the fullest. I've made a couple Superior videos, and to me, it's one of my favorite games on the blockchain. But if you're not interested in digital collectibles at all, you could just play the game standard, the way it is, Web 2 style. My vote personally is with Superior on this one. Best mobile game. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this because, to be honest with you, I don't really play mobile games. I don't really play mobile games. I'm familiar with some of them. I know Guild of Guardians is a fantastic fan base. Dayton Arena, Skyweaver, Axie Infinity's had their issues, but I know it's a great game and Kagi Jen loves it. And Blast Royale. But as of all, I'm not going to stick with best mobile games for too long because I'm not too familiar, but I've seen clips and videos of this game when I went through. And I think Guild of Guardians is probably one of the best mobile games out there. It's got a passionate fan base. So that's my vote, Guild of Guardians. Best sports game. There is no other, and you know what's funny? People think I'm sponsored by STG Football because I love the game so much. I am not sponsored by them. I just really like the game. And out of every other game on this list, to me, the only legitimate sports games on there are Rumble Kong League and STG Football. I mean, NFL Rivals is a mobile game. Probably should have been under the best mobile games, to be honest. But Mythical developed NFL Rivals. Kind of have a sour taste in my mouth for Mythical right now. And I mean, the game looks okay, but it's not STG Football. It doesn't have that same, feeling when I put into the game. It's like Blitz, NFL Blitz, like back in the day, but with digital collectibles. I'm a big fan of STG Football, as everybody knows. So first place for me, and my pick is definitely STG Football. Now, you may be saying to me, oh, Paisan, what about So Rare? So Rare really isn't a sports game. It's a sports trading card collectible. And when you tell me, oh, what's the best sports game? And if you're going to talk about Web 2, I think of Madden, I think of NHL, I think of FIFA. I don't really think of a trading card collectible sports game. So STG Football has my pick. Best casual game. Blanco's Block Party obviously takes this one by a mile. I mean, it is by far, out of all of these games on the list, Legend of Inari, Axie Infinity, Town Star, Sunflower Land, Blanco's obviously blows all these games out of the water, in my opinion. I know, I do have my criticisms with mythical games and with Blanco's in the game, but it is the best by miles, and it is the most complete out of all these games on the list and is the most fun. So I'm going with Blanco's Block Party for the most casual. The best role-playing game. Now, this one is really interesting. So we talked about Big Time and Illuvium. Phantom Galaxies is on the list. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, I have played a few episodes of Phantom Galaxies. I am absolutely in love with it, between the graphics, the storyline, the space mecha battles, the on-land mecha battles. The game is absolutely incredible and is one to watch for 2023. Now, the Beacon.gg just got popular over the last couple months, and I understand the hype behind it, but for me, digital, pixelated games aren't really that wow to me, and I know that's going to be a big shock to some people, but to me, in my opinion, and Aurora, I'm not too familiar with, so to me, this is an easy pick. Phantom Galaxies, you guys have made a fantastic game. I can't wait till the full release when it's PvE, PvP, everything like that. So Phantom Galaxies has my vote. All right, guys, we're on to 11. We got 6 categories left. The best FPS game, guys. The best FPS game, guys, and it's EV.io, and it's not even close. I mean, listen, to be honest with you, Metalcore is on there, which is great. Dead Drop's on there, which is great. Meta Ops, which is on there. I have a Meta Ops video. I played it in the community game night. I have a Meta Ops video coming out very soon. Meta Ops is a fantastic game, extremely underrated in the Web3 space. I have a video coming out on that really soon. But Eve.io, out of every single one on this list, is the best FPS game. The one game that I am completely shocked that didn't make this list, that I actually put on there, was the Forge Arena. The Forge Arena is probably one of the best FPS games. Still, in my opinion, Eve.io, with all they've done over this past year, still would have beat it, but the Forge Arena is definitely second place to me, and then followed by Undead Block's Metalcore. But yeah, for this category, out of these 5, best FPS game is going to be Eve.io. The best strategy game, guys. I don't play strategy games, but I do watch them on Twitch. Gods Unchained is a fantastic game. Skyweaver, fantastic game. Splinterlands, fantastic game. Axie Infinity, I can't really vote for. Planet Mojo, I'm not really familiar with, so I gotta kind of sidestep and get that out of the way. But in my opinion, out of all of them, the most fun to play, well, that I've seen is Skyweaver. It definitely has a passionate fan base. That community is really tight-knit. So we'll go with Skyweaver for the best strategy game. Ooh, best esports game. Do we go back and change the best? No, we're not going to go back and change the best FPS. If the Forge Arena was on best FPS, we would have voted for the Forge Arena. Now that I see the esports title, but still, I'm sorry. The best esports game is Eve.io. They hosted one of the first live in-person Web3 esports events this year. I forgot where it was, but I think it was a big hit. Eve.io, best esports game in the Web3 space by far. So Metaverse of the Year, guys. So I didn't really think a lot of people knew about Worldwide Web3. And if you go back in the Python channel, I reported and, documented Worldwide Web3 about 6 months ago. It was one of the first Metaverse games that I actually played in, and then I was introduced to Decentraland and the Sandbox. The other side meta, I think, is the Bored Apes meta. Chibi Dinos, I know Bryson is huge on Chibi Dinos. It's okay. But to me, this is really a debate between Decentraland and the Sandbox. Worldwide Web 3 is really cool, but it just seems like a digital collectible version of Pokemon. But honestly, Decentral Games, they have poker, they have a lot of in-person, live metaverse events. However, we will be going with the Sandbox. To me, it is the most complete metaverse right now. I love playing it. It's very challenging, but they have a lot of collabs with Snoop Dogg, Damian Lillard, all that stuff. They are leading the charge in the metaverse, so I'm going with the Sandbox game. One metaverse game to be on the lookout for, though, is called the Helix Metaverse. I personally think it's going to be GTA, but on the blockchain. Looks absolutely insane. They just had their land sale. If it wasn't so expensive to play, I'd already be in it, but that's another game to be on the lookout for sure. Gaming Blockchain of the Year. Now, a majority of the games that I play are on the Solana blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain. So to be honest with you guys, this one's going to be really quick. I gotta go with Solana. Organization of the Year. This one is really tough for me, and I'm just gonna narrow it down between my two picks. So I'm either going with Elixir Games, which I feel is the easiest to use Web3 gaming platform, kind of like the Epic Games of Web3 gaming platforms. If you want to go game in Web3, Elixir is probably the best one. And then second would be Fractal.io, leading the charge in Solana games and purchasing of digital collectibles. But we're going for Organization of the Year, guys. For ease of use strictly, and for a great platform, and kind of getting away from the NFTs and calling them skins and things like that nature, we're going to go with Elixir Games. And finally, guys, Studio of the Year. Studio of the Year. Do I catch heat for this, or do I just pick? No, guys. So, I mean, I know some of my counterparts in the Blanco space will tell you Mythical Games is the best studio. I highly disagree with that. I'll leave it at that. So for me, this is a pick between Big Time Studios and Gala Games. Gala Games has Spider Tanks. Gala Games also has Superior. And then we're debating that between that and Big Time, which is arguably Game of the Year. But if we're gonna go for gaming studio putting out religiously good content, I'm gonna have to go with Gala Games, man. Gala Games, they Big Time Studios only has Big Time. Gala Games is more of like an Elixir where you could go on, download, and play games. So I'm gonna have to go with Studio of the Year, Gala Games. All right, guys, we will submit that vote. Thank you for your vote. Now, I did all these things, guys, but if you guys haven't, please make sure to go on Twitter and follow Web3Gamer for all up-to-date news and information on the event. Well, that is it, guys. At the time of this recording, as you can see up there, the event and live stream starts in 26 days, 3 hours, 50 minutes, 27 seconds. But like I said, your boy will be there live and in person for this event. Let me know down below in the comments who you would have voted for, because I know everybody's voting is completely different, but let me know 1 through 16, 17, who you guys voted for. Make sure you guys spam that like button, share this with your friends, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for this event, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.